In this movie, you're going to be able to discover the 10 things or 9 things that made Transformers Rise of the Beast a great flick. I just got back from seeing it, and we're going to start with the plot. I think that the plot was very good. Obviously, looking at all of the other Transformer movies, there's a theme. There is a theme in connection with this film. So you're thinking about family, you're thinking about character development, you're thinking about the main character, how they're going to grow throughout the story, and you're thinking about the risk, what's involved. We know that Sam Witwicky was played by Shia LaBeouf, and he had a great deal of challenges with his girlfriend, his love life, and his parents, his mom and dad. And that was how we were introduced to the Transformers series. And it's just amazing that they can still keep that kind of plot rolling, but at the same time keep the idea fresh. It was really a good film. Like I was heavily shocked. I didn't expect anything going into the theater. Got there early, sat in my seat, ordered my stuff, and as the plot developed, I'm like, wow, this is okay. I can really find myself enjoying this in the direction that the movie is going in. When I'm looking at a plot, for example, in a film, I'm looking for plausibility and story arc. And what that basically means is, can the audience realistically say, I can see myself in a similar scenario or situation? We know that his younger brother is dealing with health challenges, problems that you and I all are dealing with, or if not are dealing with, our relatives are dealing with. So to bring that into the plot, to connect that or to weave it into the plot, I thought that was very nice. And even down to him having a younger brother, I thought that was a really good plot, story arc, and plausibility, because it's something that's very likely. Number 2, the attraction. Now we're focused on entertainment value. It's very entertaining. I have to give it up to Mirage. I personally don't like the actor that plays him. I think that he's a bit corny. But he did his thing, man. He's Pete Davidson from Saturday Night Live. He plays Mirage. He does a really good job, man. I really enjoyed him. He had great positive energy. His jokes were very witty. I found myself chuckling a few times in the film because he definitely gave it the drive that it needed. So there was a lot of entertainment there. I really enjoy, obviously, Optimus Prime. He always does his thing. Peter Cullen. I really enjoyed him and his moments as Optimus Prime. I really felt some of the weight that he would have to carry throughout the film on his shoulders. And then we're dealing with a prequel here, guys. So it was nice to be able to see them develop this in a entertaining way, keep positive themes in place, but build new themes around. And I think that it was amazing in that sense. I think that it was very, very well done. Number 3, the theme, identity and depth. The depth of the film was definitely there. I feel as though when you're watching a Transformers movie, often you think, oh, transforming cars, robots in disguise. What more could they possibly do? Well, they did a great job, man. They really brought depth to this film and branched out to other areas that we may not know or could have seen being connected with this film in the long run. There was great depth here. I really appreciated that the stakes were high. That's something that I think that audiences really need to see in a film. If they're going to see a movie, you need to at least make sure that the stakes are high, because right now in life itself, everything that we do, you and I, myself, going to work, going to school, you never know if you're going to make it back. And so some people consider dealing with everyday challenges as high stakes. So they really definitely brought that level of normalcy to the film and even gave us a deeper theme for the Transformer franchise. Number 4, the acting, characters, and performance. I really want to say, obviously I mentioned Pete Davidson, but Anthony Ramos, man, I love that guy. I've seen him in several different things. I've seen him in Hamilton as a Broadway actor. I've seen him in The Heights. And now being able to see him take on the role in this action adventure, I thought that he did, as Noah, he did a phenomenal job. He was very witty. He kept the entertainment strong in the film. His performance was spot on. He really did a good job as the main character. I did feel at times, though, that his sidekick, Dominique Fishback, she was okay. I felt like that her character could have been developed a little bit more rather than just giving her a sidekick. But other than that, I would say that the acting performance was great. Michelle, she did a phenomenal job as Arazar, and I always love her just because of her voice. She does a really good job in speaking, and just she has that distinct voice that you're always going to know that it's her. Number five, right, guys? Number five, dialogue, the storytelling, and the context. So, one of the things that I was looking for when I came into this film, I'm writing my notes down, is that it has to make sense. There were questions that we would have normally from the previous films in the franchise that needed to be answered in this film because we're dated back to 1985. All the other movies up until this point are future movies that happened Sam's time and then onward. So I do appreciate that they answer the question, how did the Transformers get stuck here on Earth? What made the Transformers, as it were, want to stay here on Earth? At what point did humans and Transformers, or Autobots, I should say, at what point did they form this alliance of unity that is going to start that story arc? So once those questions were answered, once the plot came around full circle in connection with all of the other films, then I'm like, okay, great. This is some great dialogue. It definitely added to the film. It really drove home some key points that we definitely needed to see, wanted to see, and I think audiences are going to appreciate that because you do need that. You have to have clarity in any film that's going to be rated high numbers on the cinema scale. Now, number six, the cinematography. So I'm going to be honest with you guys. I loved the 80s wardrobe. The 80s was this thing. Anthony Ramos was wearing some fly Jordans in the film, which was makes sense. That's fine. But going back to now the visual language, I like there's scenes where he's picking him up and it just looks kind of it doesn't really look, you can see the green screen aspect in it during the scenes where the robots pick up the humans. So I'm kind of trying to figure out as to why they did that. I mean, it's 2023. It should have looked a little bit better than that. I felt like that at some point that was a distraction. Like I was like, okay, this is definitely noticeable. This is something that's going to take my eye off the action because I'm distracted by the fact that this looks so fake and not well done. So I'm going to have to just dock them that 1 point for cinematography. I felt like that could have been better. Number seven, the editing, the pace, and the effects. There was a lot of action sequence in this film, obviously going into what you would expect for a Transformers film. It did have a nice pace. The effects were really good and strong, aside from the thing that I mentioned in cinematography. And it did have a nice pace, a nice momentum. I did really appreciate being able to see that scene in Peru that they did in connection with the parade, the festival. I thought that was nicely added and definitely well conveyed, getting some inner shots of what was going on there. So, but other than that, I just think because this movie involves so much action and so much dealings with humans, Autobots, etc., I just feel like they should have been a little bit better in connection with how that looked on screen, real versus fake. Number eight, the soundtrack. The soundtrack was bomb, man. I didn't get a chance to write down anything because at one point I put my notes to the side, but the soundtrack was pretty bomb. It did definitely give homage to 80s music, so it was really nice to see and hear how that connected. They really did a good job with the battle and interwoven an 80s song. I thought that was phenomenal because that's what it's about. You have that moment of hope coming, and then you have that song that's going to drive that hope further and further into your mind and heart. And the audience went wild. Like in my theater, everyone was like super, super excited. They were clapping at those moments where they should clap. They were able to easily follow the movie and identify with it. And I thought that was just spot on. Number nine, the directing, the vision, and the execution. The director here in connection with this film, Stephen Capel Jr., this is the director who directed Creed number 2. Unfortunately, I haven't gotten around to see Creed 2. Obviously, all good things that I heard about the film, and so it's evident that Steven did direct this movie just as well as he directed Creed. The man has talent. The man has talent, and I really appreciated the message that he was trying to convey, the emotion that was displayed. He saw what he had to do. He had a vision, and the execution was flawless, even seamless in some matters. Now, number 10, my favorite part, the it factor. That's what makes it one of a kind. That's what makes it transcendent. So, what was it about this movie that I would say is the it factor that makes me want to rate this movie 9 out of 10? Well, I'll tell you, I am really big on family, and there was just a nice point in the film where each character had to recognize that although they have their strengths individually, there is a moment where you have to put that aside and work together with someone because you're not as strong as the next person that you work with. And that's a really deep point because oftentimes in life, we try to find or handle things on our own, but at the same time, you have to humble yourself and realize I need help. Once that message was conveyed through the movie, along with the sacrifices that were made along the entire plot and story, then another essence of character development was able to come to the light. And that's really something that you want to see in a movie like this, because you're thinking about Noah and what he's going through and who he's doing this for. If there is no sort of character development for him, there was a moment where he has this job interview and the guy says to him, you don't know how to be a part of a team. That character development, that statement right there shows that that's something that we needed to watch for in the movie, that he would change. And by the end of the film, it was clearly evident that he had changed his perspective on team and how to be unified with persons. And so that would be my one of a kind and transcendent thing. It was evident character development and growth in this film, and it was definitely seen. Other than that, guys, I'm going to rate the Transformers Rise of the Beast movie 9 out of 10. I didn't have to dock it for the cinematography. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. Other than that, if you want to know what makes another movie successful, don't forget to click the next video. It will explain why Guardians of the Galaxy was a great film for you and why The Little Mermaid just was not. Thank you so much, subscribers. Love you guys. Peace out.